In business, I was a kind of slow learner, but one time I had to learn really quickly, and I did a pretty good job. What happened, I was going to be going to a different country, and they're a new company, and I was going to have to negotiate with them to get some specific things that we needed. So I learned all about the company. I learned all about the individual that ran the company. I spoke to some of the employees, and I made a list of the things specifically that I wanted to get from this journey. And when I went there, I actually got most of the things I asked for because I wrote them down on paper and knew exactly what they were. I thought about them a lot, and I was prepared as I went. You know, as a Christian, if you know Jesus Christ, you accepted him to your heart, you can boldly come before God's throne anytime. Unfortunately, he's the greatest of all things. He holds all of the universe together. And we approach him in a way that's like a shotgun. I was listening to Spurgeon the other day when he's talking. If you're going to ask for prayer, shoot it like an arrow exactly where you want. You don't want to take 40 arrows with no tips and just shoot them in the air, but specifically aim for a target. In other words, be prepared. Come before God knowing exactly what you're going to ask. You know, sometimes we're working, we think of this worry and that thing, or, I want to go help somewhere here. What do I do about that? Write those things down. You will find one or two things happening. Number one, during the day, because you wrote them down, you're going to be praying about those specific things, specifically asking God, shooting that arrow exactly where you want it to go. Or the second thing that'll happen is you think about that all day and you start adding to that list. And then when you finally do have time to come before the throne of God, you can go and specifically pray that you're going to go meet the creator of the universe that loves you, and you can go and specifically tell him all of your needs. And he will hear them and he will answer them. Here's the other thing that happens with prayer. Sometimes you go before him and you rejoice that you can come before him. You lift up your prayer, but you don't think it's going to be answered. Let's take this. God is outside of time. You lift up your prayer. You know he is outside of time, and he's going to take that worry from you. The burden is lifted. There's nothing greater that we can do than to go before God and say, God, just take my worries away. And these are my specific needs right now, and offer them up to God. You know what happens when you do something like that? It says in Philippians 4:7, the peace of God that passes all understanding. That's what you receive because you know God has it. There are things in our lives that maybe we won't get the answer we want. I think of, somebody who could be really sick and on their deathbed, and I'm praying for somebody like that now. And I leave it up to God's will. I don't understand all things, but I know that God does work all things together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purposes. Now, if you're in a frustrated state and you don't see an answer to anything, I say this: go to your knees, pray specifically for what you need. If you need guidance, pray for that and allow God the time to answer it. You don't need long-winded prayers. In fact, I know this for a fact. When I'm desperate, my back's against the world, against the wall, and against the world, I just cry out to God. I could be standing. Just recently, I had that happen and say, God, I need you to take care of this. He took the worries away that very night. And then I got the answer that I wanted, even though I said, and thy will be done. So until next time, may Jesus increase as we decrease.